Hello, readers. I'm glad you're here today for our session on getting to know your character, like you are getting to know your friends. So the first thing I want you to think about today is I want you to think about a really good friend you have, and I want you to think about how you got to know them. Just take a minute and think about how you got to know that friend, how you got to know what kind of person they were. And then I'm just going to kind of give you my example. So when I first meet someone, I like them, and we might have something in common, or we might laugh at the same joke. But that's kind of like this surface level of getting to know someone. When you really want to become really good friends, you really get to know the person and what they like and what they don't like, and then what is their like inside, what is their personality like? Are they funny? If they tell you lots of jokes and stuff, you'd be like, oh, that's for a person's funny. But what if they're serious and very studious? You see them go to school and you see them study. You can tell something about them there. You can also tell things about how they act when they're in certain situations. So today I'm going to teach you that readers get to know their characters the same way that you get to know your friends. And so we're going to talk about that with our book, The Year of the Dog. And so I want to show you my thinking first. So I'm going to go to our book here, The Year of the Dog. And I am going to read you part of this. And so this is where Grace is, and she's with some of her friends. They're talking about the Year of the Dogs. She's not at home with her family. She's in school with their friends. So what does it mean when it's the Year of the Dog, Becky asked. Does it mean Scruffy gets to boss me around? Maybe he'll eat at the dinner table and I'll have to eat on the floor. I laughed, but I didn't know how to explain it. Chinese people give every year an animal sign. I tried to explain. You know how horoscopes use animals for some months? Well, Chinese people, it's for every year. When is it the year of the unicorn? Becky asked. I love unicorns. I shook my head. I don't think there is a year of the unicorn. Becky looked really disappointed, so I tried to think of something. Maybe during leap year or something, they have a unicorn day. Really? What do they do on unicorn day? I scrambled because now I was completely lying. They draw pictures of unicorns and hang them up. Sometimes there's a parade. Cool, Becky said, excited. Will you tell me when the day is and we can celebrate it? Okay, I said, but I hoped that by the time a leap year came, she would forget all about it. So Grace here, she's trying to explain to her friends about the Year of the Dog and how the Chinese people pick an animal to kind of back up the year or to be part of the year. But then her friend starts talking about this unicorn day. And I know that Grace knows that there's not a unicorn day and that she's lying. It even says that she's lying. And that kind of is surprising to me. And so what I'm trying to figure out is, why is Grace lying here? So I don't think that Grace is just a liar. So I'm kind of thinking that, and I know it's bothering her too, because she said, I hope by the time the leap year came, she would forget about it. And I also noticed that over here, she seemed kind of uncomfortable explaining this to her friends. So I'm thinking that this here is kind of showing that Grace might be a little bit ashamed or worried that her friends aren't going to understand her culture, because she kind of completely makes up this Year of the Unicorn. So I'm going to read a little more of this. And I want you to really think about the character Melanie. Melanie's going to come up here in a few minutes. And I want you to pay attention to what Melanie does that surprises you. And what does it show you about her character? So we're going to start right here. I'm going to repeat some of it. And then we're going to see if we can pay attention to Melanie. Okay, I said, but I hope that by the time the leap year came, she would forget all about it. Like an alarm clock, the bell rang and we lined up to go into the cafeteria. It was spaghetti day. Yum. I love spaghetti, even though I always thought it was strange that they served it with an ice cream scoop. The spaghetti always looked like tennis balls on my plate. But when I was to take my plate, the lunch lady stopped me. Hey, she said, I just saw you. You already took a lunch. Everyone gets only one. No, I said, I didn't. This is my first time. Yes, you did, the lunch lady said. You took spaghetti and french fries. No, I said, I didn't get anything. Are you sure? The lunch lady said. I know it was you. It wasn't, Becky said. Honest. The lunch lady gave me a lunch, but I could tell she didn't believe me. She kept shaking her head and looking at me suspiciously. When we went to sit down, Becky nudged me. Look over there, she said, pointing. That's why the lunch lady thought you already got your lunch. I looked where she was pointing and I saw a girl that looked Chinese, just like me. I hadn't noticed her before because she'd been all bundled up in a fuzzy scarf and hat. She was brand new. I couldn't wait to meet her. So that kind of goes along with my theory there a little bit about Grace. She really can't wait to meet this new girl that's like her. So maybe she feels out of place. Becky and I sat next to the new girl. She smiled at me. Hello, she said. Are you Pacey? How did you know? I asked. My mother told me about you. My mother met your mother last week. Didn't you? Didn't you know? She said. She said there would be another Asian girl in school. Her name's not Pacey, Becky said, pointing at me. It's Grace. Grace is my name at school, I rushed to explain. My mom calls me Pacey. The new girl frowned and looked a little confused, but she said, well, anyways, my name is Melanie. Melanie Ling. Ling, Becky said. That's like Grace's last name, Lynn. Melanie nodded, except it's with a G, L-I-N-G. We found out that Melanie and I had lots of things that were almost the same. Like I had an older sister and a younger brother, or I had an older sister and a younger sister, and she had an older brother and a younger brother. We both had long black hair, but she had bangs and I didn't. We both played the violin, but I was in Sudoku Book 3 and she was in Sudoku Book 2. We couldn't write in Chinese, but she could speak it and I couldn't. My birthday was May 17th and Melanie's birthday was July 17th. You're almost twins, Becky said. Lucky. My mama must have forgotten to tell me about you, I said. Probably because it's Chinese New Year. Yeah, Becky said. It's the year of the dog. Grace is going to tell me when it's the day of the unicorn so we can celebrate that. Day of the unicorn, Melanie said. There's no day of the unicorn. Yes, there is, Becky said. It's during leap year and there's a parade and we hang pictures. Grace said so. Melanie looked at me and I felt myself turning red. I must have made a mistake, I mumbled. Oh, Melanie said, the day of the unicorn. I forgot. My family doesn't celebrate it, so I didn't remember. But you're right, it's a big festival. Melanie grinned at me and I smiled back. I knew we were going to be good friends. So I want you to think here about what we read about Melanie. She obviously knew there wasn't a day of the unicorn, but she said she forgot about it. Think about why do you think Melanie did that? Why would Melanie kind of go along with Grace? Just think about that. Okay, so this is what I want you guys to do today. I want you to go back and read your own book, and I want you to think about one character in particular. And I want you to notice things that character does. What does that character do that surprises you? Or what does that character do that shows you something about their personality? Kind of like with Grace and Melanie here. Grace, at the beginning of the part we read, you really got to see that she wanted to show her friends what it was, but when they got to the year of the unicorn, she lied to them. And then she was super excited when she found out about Melanie was going to be like her. So I can tell that she kind of feels uneasy and alone in her culture here at this new school, or the school that she's at. And then Melanie, even at the end, how she knows there's no day of the unicorn. And Grace even turns red, that she goes along with her. And she goes along with her because I think she kind of understands why Grace is doing that. So when you're reading your book today, I want you to notice those things. Notice things that your character does. Some of them are surprising, some of them maybe not so surprising, but will tell you about the kind of person they are. So you can get to know your character like a friend. And then after your silent reading time, you're going to fill out a response online that shows from your book how you get to know your character. So you want to make sure that you you keep notes about what your character does that's surprising, or maybe you mark it with post-it notes so that you have something ready to put into your response. Okay, go ahead and go off and read your book looking for characters and what you can learn about the characters from their actions.